almost shifting. We got pizza, moving boxes, or else checkers beats us. Life is rough here in the depths of space. If shit set comes a knocking, we shoot them in the face. Gun cargo, gun cargo, gun cargo, gun cargo, hail cargo, gun cargo, gun cargo, gun cargo. Alright, I got another verse. I hear a boy coming right in my instant, and it just asks me why I blew them all away. But I feel so great now with sovereign Cargonia. Every round we stand our ground. Gun cargo, gun cargo, gun cargo, gun cargo, hail Cargonia, gun cargo, 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 hail Cargonia, gun cargo, gun cargo, gun cargo, gun cargo, gun cargo, gun cargo, gun cargo.
Get back to work.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. We are here praising the God Emperor once again. We can now actually legitimately start exploring this new DLC and start doing some silly shit with it.
I won't tolerate weakness.
God, I forgot how pompous I was. So now we can... Oh, give me your shit. Now we can actually start fucking around with shit. Actually talking with people and doing stupid shit as the God Emperor of Man wants me to do.
Follow my lead.
I forgot she has candles on her power armor. The high factotum surgeon Manatrax and Genitor Ferenz are already waiting for you by the mysterious door. The wall behind them looks perfectly flat. Only the metallic coat of arms gleams in the lumen light and steady glow of the genetic guardian's impassive lenses reveal that one of the dynasty's secrets lie behind the wall. Warden, the garden of the secret room looks less menacing than the gargoyle that guards the warrant chamber. This is just a recess in a wall framed in metal with an analyzer needle inside a small vid screen beside it. Lines of mechanically indifferent text appear on the screen. Access is forbidden. Entry is authorized only for Sebastian von Valansis or his direct descendants. Examine the coat. Heraldic symbols cast in bronze are undoubtedly from the von Valancius dynasty. Only certain details draw your eye. Some elements of ornation and archaic script. They indicate the coat of arms as well as the wall is several centuries out. Who is Sebastian? Serbian. Siberian. Error, the request is invalid. Genetic genetic confirmation required. Alright, screw you. Analyzer pierces your hand, wriggling oh, that's fun. Repulsively beneath your skin. Second later, color changes. Identification passed. Welcome, member of the von Valancius dynasty. Tremor passes through the wall, accompanied with a deep groan of ancient locks. Viv said, Martinac's pupils dilate. He takes a wary step forward and freezes. Incredible! Generations of surgeons have been toiled away here and were utterly unaware. Ferenz lets out a shocked exclamation in lingua technis, which shifts into a sharp binaric screech. Then, embarrassed by his outburst, he bashfully steps aside, respectfully making way for you. Be careful, Lord Captain. Narrows his eyes at the coat of arms. Dynastic secrets can be more than a little dangerous. It is my righteous duty as seneschal to escort you inside. Door slides open. Stale air rushes out of the hidden room, carrying particles of centuries-old dust. Give me a second. I need to get a frozen sandwich. Frozen peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And a root beer for breakfast. I am living the American dream.
Sometimes you consult the appropriate treatise on Tactica Imperialis and weigh every step. Sometimes, though, you just fire your biggest cannon and save the day.
Oh. There's no dust right there.
Light of terror, guide our way.
Hydraulic booster. Gains the jump maneuver. Huh. Fun.
A new challenge
I'm
for
still
me?
new to the art of exploring.
What we got here? The hell is toxic saturation? It explodes, dealing. Okay. Okay. The book is coated with a thick layer of dust. Sprayed edges have warped and are marred with decay. Writing implements lie in disarray. An auto quill, a inkwell, paperweight. As if the diarists had made the last entry before leaving their secret study in haste. Dust off the cover. Sturdy, well-crafted leather with expensive embossing has hardly faded with the effects of time. Von Valancia's coat of arms stamped on it, embellished with large gems. Book is covered in many scratches and scuffs, as if the book has survived more than a few adventures. At the bottom of the corner, the name Siberian von Valancius is written in florid script. It appears to be a personal diary. I really love that 1919 root beer. Again, burp. I do not like root beer. I very much like this root beer. It's very good. Pages are filled with cramped writing along with blots, crossings out, and sweeping underlines that reveal the owner's passionate nature. The ink is faded and decayed as the pages themselves, the thin parchment crumbling to dust at any careless touch. The middle. All I can be certain of is that the portion of my designs that most of my retinue would consider overly bold will not leave the confines of these chambers. It is rather amusing that this personal laboratory... Did I just go Dexter's Lab? I just went Dexter's Lab. Huntley became a secret sanctuary, to whose walls I can tell my most of my ideas and research. At times, I sense the esteemed Exalt 117 is entirely aware of its existence, but the Archmage Ghost has always possessed that rare combination of human qualities, a sense of tact, coupled with the ability to keep other secrets. Next page is ripped out. Last entry, the siege is over. It takes more than a single battle won to snuff the flames of war. They are showering me with their artless praise. They are lauding me, the savior of the dynasty. And I cannot shake the thought that it may be my hand that has signed its death warrant. What if the artifact in front of me now is not good enough? Yet the place where I found this relic may hold still more. The God Emperor willing, I shall find them. No one must know about the cluster I discovered. No one must interfere in my research. I will not order Ambrosio to record the warp routes in my archives for his esteemed house. And should I fail, then perhaps my descendants might finish what I started. The dynasty's private cogitator on Dargonius seems ancient and loyal enough for me to entrust it with the coordinates. The access identifier is Laria. It will open the secret areas of the machine spirit's memory. I hope I will be the one who reads this journal upon my return. I hope I will destroy this evidence with my inexcusable faintness of heart. Remaining pages are utterly untouched. Perhaps the cogitator, Undercoronis, can tell you more about him. Hello.
Victory awaits.
That's a really good portrait. I really do like that. Natural velvet, work of a highly skilled craftsman, clearly worth a fortune. Oh no. His painting has a text on him. We're going to talk to him. A figure in grand attire stares down at you from the portrait with an air of regal superiority. The insignia embellishing his lavish cloak leaves no room for a doubt. This is a rogue trader of bygone days. His right hand rests on the hilt of an exquisite blade, and his roguish half-smile radiates a majestic condescension. Plate reads, Zerbian von Valancius, Massimo of Coronis, rogue trader of the Imperium and guiding light of his dynasty. Study the details. It's hard enough to argue the simple truth. The subject is a portrait of an extremely good-looking individual. None of his meticulously painted scars, which the rogue trader bore like medals of military valor, could spoil his noble duty. Look closely at his face. Chiseled features, dark brows, and a gaze full of inner strength. You also notice the finely worked furrows of stubbornness into his forehead, and at the corner of his mouth strove to capture the complex character of such a strong-willed man. It seems to have done a superlative job. Excuse me, it's cold down here. Yeah. I need to put on my majestic robe. Cassius studies the canvas thoughtfully, barely touching the scroll work of the heavy frame with her slender fingers. The work of a skilled and undoubtedly talented painter, Lord Captain. The execution is both so exquisite that glimpses of the model's own emotions flicker before my gaze, as if the master had captured not only the man's likeness, but upon the canvas, but his very soul. Got a fine figure. Portrait remains silent because, despite the vividness of the person's picture, it's only an object that has been hanging on the wall for centuries. Examine the weapon. There can be no doubt about the weapon's origins. It depicted in the unknown artist's brush. It was not forged by human hands. Fluid curves, exceptional luster of the blade, and the gem in the hilt is the work of the Eldari artisan. The blade itself is also unnatural for the runes engraved on its length. Most are ancient indeed. In the art, the inscription is in the Eldari language, recounting the legend of an unholy god of war revered by the Xenos. Memory is the force that drives humanity and inspires us to deeds worthy of our ancestors. Details are eroded by time, leaving only the essence crystallized upon relics and images. Observe that only that fortifies us upon his path. The rest is to be consigned to oblivion. Unfortunately, this portion of your legacy belongs to the later. Argenta, I thought we talked about being a little bit more... You know what, Argenta, do your thing. Study the background. Eyes are drawn to the head of the predatory creature behind the man. A beastly face, distorted in mortal rage, is vaguely familiar, and its gaze, too intelligent for a dead thing, is fixed on something very specific outside the painting. Turn your attention to something else. Who texted me? MST3K. No, not dishonor. I swear it. You know you speak the truth, you need to think the man is looking back at you with faith in his eyes. Dunrock, I have found a portrait of my ancient ancestor. I wish for it to be rehung in my chambers. Ancient unknown ancestor. I want it. Ugh. Hey, Farty. Janrus wipes sweat from his brow, then sets the drying his fleshy hand with a silk handkerchief. Handkercher. What? 40k is weird. Your lordship, has your search been successful? Have you learned anything about the fate of the mysterious Serbian? I found a portrait of a nobleman holding an unusual sword. What gave you the notion that the blade depicted was more than a ceremonial weapon? An Eldari blade and an ancient one at that. Xenos relic, without a doubt. I see. This is a strong indicator that the blade's wielder was a most distinguished individual. Even among road traders, not everyone can afford to possess such an item. It must have been a genuine portrait of Sir Serbian. Needs an ostentatious codpiece, absolutely. The fellow was rather handsome and sumptuously dressed. Alas, alas, this sheds no light on who he was, although an elegant appearance is indeed a hallmark of nobility, and you are no small proof of that. Thanks. Enough about the blade. Very well, what else have you managed to uncover? I found a handwritten diary signed by Siberian. That is something. One can learn a great deal about an individual from the personal writings. That is, of course, assuming you're sufficiently truthful in his account. What did the diary entries tell you? Final entry tells of a siege of Dargonius, but such a historical event is not in the chronicles. Let me think. Yes, strange indeed. I have studied the history of the dynasty in enough detail to recall all major battles in the last millennium. And none took place on the capital world. Found reference to a cogitator in the palace, as well as a data key that grants access to the archives. Wonderful! You should definitely go to Dargonius and convey that code to the cogitator's machine spirit. Nothing more survived in the records. Thank you for the information. That is everything. Do you have any ideas? I imagine that Siberian was a man of remarkable talents and extraordinary destiny. I regret that I was fated never to see him in the flesh. The life form, Genitor Ferens, is extremely disturbed by the discovered addition to the genealogical tree of the von Valancius dynasty. I request permission to make appropriate changes to the archives. It seems that Serbian was indeed the one erased from the official chronicles. I wonder what deed prompted such a step. I do hope that, when the machine spirit of the ancient cogitator of Dargonus sheds lights on the mystery, we will not have to consign what we learned to oblivion as well. Alright. Okay. Let's actually talk to this guy. What do you think of our new equipment? It's incredible. The lighting, the instrumentation, the servants of the altar have awakened every sacred machine and granted us incense mixtures to dull the pain. We will have fewer deaths from shock. All procedures will be completed in less time. Our work will advance to a new, unprecedented level. This is the best thing that has happened to the Sector Bionica in many decades. What does the sector do? The sector is a special part of the Medicaid facility where we employ augmentics, and implants to give life back to those who have been irreparably injured. We replace local organs with consecrated technologies and offer the maimed the chance to serve the God Emperor once more. Sector's assistants and Medicaid officers report to me, while its tech priests report to Janitor. Few vessels can boast the Medicaid concilium of such quality. What does the Vivisector do? My primary task is to heal the Flesh Lord. I oversee the processes involved in the workings of the body, and in the case of augments, how well they are joined to the flesh, you may say, I make sure that the metal sacred to the Omnissiah becomes a true extension of the living body. Tell me more about yourself. I am delighted to have earned your attention, Lord Captain. What exactly do you wish to know? Jesus Christ, title is not lying. I forgot how much reading is in this game. How did you come to serve on the flagship? How did you become a vivisector? I come from a noble line on Janus. Family legend has it that my ancestor knew the secret of the planet's terraforming technology. I do too. I, on the other hand, have chosen the path that allows me to transform the person rather than the planet. Advanced terraforming, in a way. Augmentation makes humanity stronger than any phenomenon in nature. Isn't that what the God Emperor wants us to be? Why did the tech priests permit you to work alongside them? Augmetics are their preserve, are they not? An astute observation, Lord Captain. I am proud to tell you that I had the honor of serving alongside members of the Adeptus Mechanicus back on my home planet. Among the tech priests of Janus, there are entire divisions headed by janitors. The knowledge of the officio medicae was essential during the more complicated procedures, for the sacred remit of the janitors does not include tending to the patient's mortal bodies. That is when the experienced medicae must be brought into the ritual, and thus we found some common ground. I must stress that the esteemed janitors do not permit me direct access to the machines, since none but they themselves are versed in the mysteries of operating them. My purview is limited to the organic aspect. You and Farron's not get along? Yes, Lord Captain. Sometimes we disagree. Farron's believes that replacing flesh with iron and receiving the blessing of the Omnissiah is the privilege of the few. I, on the other hand, make no distinction between servants of the God Emperor. Excuse me. Every faithful soul deserves a chance to continue working for the glory of humanity. I'm afraid it's not always easy for Enz and I to find a compromise. Let's talk about something else. Bye. Hey, what's up, buddy? Greetings. Have you come for fault correction? What do you think of our new equipment? Dry hiss that normally comes from his voxes comes higher, registering an unprecedented increase in the functional efficiency of the machine spirits. Rivers of sacred unguents wash over their iron flesh. How many barrels do you want on this 40k tank? Yes. The mechanism sings the praises of the Omnissiah. Bless the decision that led to this miracle of rebirth. Tell me about the sector. And performs repair and installation of sacred augmetics to those who demonstrate the most efficient service to the ship. What does the Genitor Majoris do? Those bearing the rank of Genitor bestow blessings on the installation, consecration, and maintenance of the augmetics, thus drawing the feeble bodies of humanity closer to the maximum efficiency pleasing the Omnissiah. You work in tandem with the Vivisector, yes? I deem the results of your scan to be accurate. The vivisector performs the functions of preparing the carrier for the installation of the maximum efficiency configuration. Who makes the final decisions? The opinion of the vivisector life form carries the most weight. A request for review of the chain of command has not been granted. I wish to know more about you. Given your inability to conduct a scan, I will respond to a limited set of inquiries. I have discovered in just observing 40k shenanigans that the tech priests love acting like robots. And it's just like you're just like, no, duh, man. But it's just like they love acting like robots, but still claim to be human. They cosplay robots. And it's hilarious. How'd you come to serve? I maximize the efficiency of the life form serving within the sacred manufactorum on Kiva Gamma. By the blessing of the Omnissiah, I ascended janitor rank and was deployed to the flagship. My proficiency in installing augmetics was praised by as exceptional by the previous rogue trader. Our tech priests of the Omnissiah even allowed to work with living flesh. I thought you hold it in contempt. Flesh is weak, but the efficiency can be improved through blessed metal. According to the directives of the Omnissiah, pivotal life forms, like the pivotal mechanisms, must withstand maximum stress and provide the best results. My duty lies in improving them. Hold on. I have been watching a few YouTube shorts of someone reading books about Belisarius Call working with Gilliman to retake a Necron planet. And one of the I have fallen in love with his interpretation of Belisarius Call. One of his one of the lines was like one of it was something along the lines of excuse me. He was using the Space Marines as an attack force, and the captain was just like, "And we're supposed to be your dogs of war," and he's just like, "Good boy." The Call gives no fucks is apparently the moral of the story. Belisarius Call is apparently the most human character in 40k, despite being like the Pope of the Mechanicus. Do you and Martinax not get along? Scanning, response affirmative. Vivisector life form regrettably ignores the sacred requirements of efficiency in service of the Omnissiah, attributing it to rudimentary experiences. Let's talk about something else. Bye! Masterpiece. Alright. What's going on here? Augment installation. Alright. Directly modifies the body in contrast to equipping gear. Installing an augment is permanent. Cannot be unequipped and can only be replaced with another augment. If removed, it is replaced with a basic. The original body part cannot be restored. Wasn't there a thing that they were trying that they wanted to put into Cyberpunk 2077? Like, if you got the ARM mods, there would have been like a scene where like they literally ripped your arms off. There are several ways to install an augment, and they were just like, no, that's a little too hardcore. You can use the implementation throne, speak to the high factotum on the ship's ridge, or open the augmentation menu on the rightmost part of the Cronus map. Each augment provides a unique additive and passive bonuses, but always applies a negative effect. When the character suffers trauma of the corresponding body part, the installed augment malfunctions. Positive effects are disabled until the trauma is healed, while its negative effects remain. Increases stacks of Ferrum Sanctum. Each augment installed suffers 15% more shock damage from arc grenades and other effects. Has 6 insertions: optical, cortical, somatic, and 2 in the arms, sinistral and dextral, and 1 in the legs. Some companions possess unique augments. They can be replaced, but other characters cannot install them. Cassio Space remains, and Xenos cannot install. Seneschal's monitor. Okay. For each mechadendrite has... Wow, you're fat. Cannot equip cloak or boots. Perils of Warp are triggered. There's a... ha! Oh yeah, she had her her throat basically cut out. Okay. Served cold. What is this served cold? The damage dealt by this ability and its armor penetration are increased by for each extra turn. Before using this, the extra turns are counted starting the last use of this ability. Ooh, okay. Yeah, they really changed a bunch of this game. They changed a lot.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Let's go to the bridge. And since I'm like super late game, I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that I've missed on Cormorath. But that's okay. You know.
Negos biologus Eurystheus octo rebido declaimed. Every organism naturally born, flesh from flesh.
Yes, I got the
knows
drops from this.
But the supreme terror of an organic organism is invariably evoked by the threat of annihilation.
Okay, sure.
I have pondered this a great deal. Do death and terror define our existence from the very beginning? Like a kind of fate, a raised blade since our conception that governs our lives? Rogue Trader, do you fear death?
Nuncius's countenance, a reminder of the inevitable end, stares at you with empty eye sockets. To begin all conversations with questions about death.
Hardly. But it is what was on my mind when you approached, and I thought it an interesting topic for discussion.
Is it a
Not in
threat?
the slightest. Merely an invitation to discuss. A means by which to get to know you better.
Nothing to fear if you have lived a worthy
For
life.
it is what spurs us to do the things that give life meaning and dignity. You are a brave man, Rogue Trader. Thank you for indulging my curiosity. Now it is your turn to select the topic of conversation.
Cabela has acquired a skull companion of her own. Do you think he and Nuncius will get along?
That mutant skull that Mistress Cabela has chosen to establish familiar relations with is a crude anatomical aid, and nothing more. I suppose our conversations can be characterized as a primitive means of meditation, where the individual projects her state of mind and thoughts onto some inanimate object and thereby achieves a certain degree of introspection. Nuncius, by contrast, contains a machine spirit, which we know every creation of the Omnissiah to possess. And he also happens to be a highly erudite and complex construct.
Sure. The erudite and complex constructs opts not to comment on your witty remark. Tell me about you.
Can anyone truly know the essence of another person? For a veil of words often shrouds meaning that cannot be discovered in one brief conversation. Then again, all the greatest works on human nature began with scant material. Ask your questions, rogue trader.
Where are you from, buddy?
Stygius 8 is a forge world located on one of the moons of a gas giant in the binary star system of Vulcanus. A magnificent place. Stretching from horizon to horizon, mighty manufactorums crisscross the moon's surface, producing armaments and equipment. For the armies of the Segmentum Solar, the designs and patterns we produce are unequaled in the galaxy. The huge titans of the Legio Honorum tower over cohorts of Skitarii, making ready to escort countless expeditions, ravenous for knowledge and lost technology. And beneath them, deep within the moon itself, lies a labyrinth of archives and laboratories, where many sages cultivate knowledge and conduct experiments in the name of understanding the will of the machine god. Nuncius and I spent our adolescence and part of our adulthood there, before we were permitted to leave our cells for the cabins of expedition ships and the tents of field camps. I miss my home, but I do not regret leaving it, for stagnation is the enemy of knowledge.
Okay. Cool. Why do you wear black robes? Don't they wear red?
No, not all. The robes of tech priests often vary from world to world. They're imbued with symbolism that reflects the principles of a particular branch of the tech priesthood. Red is the color of Mars. It is present in the robes of each world as an homage to the Red Planet. White symbolizes the purity of machines and sacred augmetics. One is compelled to carry a certain stigma living on Stygius 8. Certain theological disputes often lead to conflict with our fellow clergy. Black symbolizes our guardedness and otherness, while with red we emphasize the purity of our faith in the Omnissiah and our fellowship with the rest of the cult Mechanicus.
What theological disputes do you have with other tech priests?
The tech priests of Stygius 8 are most dogged in their acquisition of samples of xenotechnology.
Hey, there we go.
Our doctrine, any methods used to gain an advantage over the enemies of humanity are justified, so long as they do not cross the line into heresy. As you may have guessed,
Hey, what's up, Rimward?
where exactly that line lies has been the subject of debate and discord for centuries. This means that we are often compelled to ensure a certain level of secrecy in our work, which only increases suspicions about our world. But for the sake of the Imperium's victory, we are prepared to live with this stigma. That is an incontrovertible fact.
That's cool. That's cool. I think my friend might be at Origins. I know I'm going to be with him at Gen Con. I'm going to be there doing, working his booth for him. Tell me about your research. What are you trying to understand?
I have dedicated my life to many questions. The blessings of the fusion of organics and machines. The search for virtue in their separate existence. The possibility of prolonging the functioning of flesh through genetics and alchemy. The machine god is perfect in all his manifestations. This is the truth and an incontrovertible fact. But it seems to me that attempts to become like him exclusively through augmetics, though good in their righteousness, do not fully reflect his design. For the organic body is nothing but a biological machine whose components can be replaced and improved by genetic transmutation.
Okay. Biologic machine.
I believe the truth lies somewhere between these two paths, and both lead to my ultimate goal, my magnum opus, to challenge death itself as a phenomenon, bringing humanity closer to the eternity of the Omnissiah.
Ah, so you want to you want to create several instant several instant cures for many but all of the more serious forms of death. Gotcha. What's it like serving on
But I am a wanderer and a pilgrim.
Altar?
Nuncius and I have led research expeditions with the aim of finding relics and artifacts and advancing the quest for knowledge. I have also endeavored to learn from my colleagues at every opportunity, developing my expertise in genetics, hermetics, and augmetics. We have visited more than one world, voyaged on more than one ship, and got our hands dirty more than once, both literally and figuratively.
What was it like there?
Many secrets lie within that blessed temple fortress. I spent decades there, but still I am not certain that I discovered all of them. However, the station's clergy are not known for their insularity for nothing. They are quite reluctant to make contact with the laity, or even other tech priests. Nuncius and I were lucky that our skills were in demand, and we were able to ensconce ourselves in that fountain of wisdom. Alas, the doctrine of isolation and the intransigence of several colleagues had brought my research to a standstill, and so I seized the opportunity to join your retinue.
Intransience of colleagues that strikes you. These are more to his departure than simply a thirst for knowledge. Who'd you quarrel?
Oh, Nuncius, I was not trying to hide anything from the rogue trader. I only reasoned that the squabbles of tech priests would scarcely be of interest to him. A disagreement arose with the cloister's arch-chemist, Tekla Paradigm 13. She stubbornly refused to understand the importance of my research and would not authorize access to the sacrarium of alchemical reagents. Since her arguments were invalid and her theoretical basis flawed, I decided to disregard her prohibition and grant myself access.
Your arguments are stupid, you're stupid, I'm doing it anyway.
I acted discreetly to ensure that my colleague would not discover my requisitioning of the reagents. That is, until work stopped in one of the Capellae Biologus, where there was a regrettable incident involving a group of servitors I had been experimenting on. Such a fuss over just a few controlled mutations. If Tekla Paradigm 13 had approached research with the same zeal she applied to making my life on the station more difficult, she could have been useful for something. Unfortunately, that was not the case.
Hey, what's up, Cal?
I decided to leave the station at the earliest opportunity, so as not to jeopardize my and Nuncius's efforts. That opportunity turned out to be you.
Hey, Pascal was also there.
The Omnissiah's providence did not bring us together. The temple is quite vast, and it is no surprise that two learned men never once crossed paths. After all, each of us is blessed with our own function, and fulfilling that function is a solitary effort. Really? My dearest colleague states that Magos Haneman and I once passed each other in Service Conduit 91-R. The esteemed Magos chided me for some minor neglect in the presentation of my augments, after which, having each voiced our opinions, we parted ways. It seems I considered this event to be inconsequential, and it has escaped my memory.
I'm satisfied.
As has mine. Questions can reveal more about the asker than anything they may say about themselves.
You talk funny.
To think that all tech priests speak exclusively like machines is a widespread misconception among the laity. We may strive to draw closer to the machine god, but we remain part of the human race. How exactly a tech priest achieves this oneness
He's growing up
is
fast.
the choice of each individual ordained in the priesthood of Mars, depending largely on personal characteristics, practical considerations, and interpretations of the tenets of the faith. Of course, many attune their language to machine cant or even prefer not to use flesh speak at all. It is then easier for them to make contact with machine spirits. For myself, however, a key aspect of the machine god is his omniscience. I gather wisdom, and that includes from communicating with laypersons. To this end, standard low Gothic has so far proved to be the most useful. However, this does not negate the fact that I am able to speak all the binaric dialects of Mars, if circumstances so demand.
Okay, tell me about your
I can only
augments.
encourage such a thirst for knowledge. Ask away.
What is the view on augmentations of the laity?
Difficult question, and thus an interesting one. From the perspective of the cult mechanicus, augmentation is an unalloyed good. Flesh is weak, and replacing it brings us closer to the Omnissiah. But this good is also a supreme privilege. Every augmetic is a man-made miracle that glorifies the machine god, and not every layperson is worthy of such a blessing. The majority of laypersons who have lost limbs or organs are at best furnished with the most rudimentary prosthetics, if any at all. The exceptions are those who hold key posts in the Imperium, or who cannot perform their duties without replacing their organics with more efficient equivalents. And naturally, there are exceptional individuals, such as rogue traders, who can afford the best augments at the wave of their hand. Or rather, its loss. Just think about it. You are one of untold billions, and you succeeded in becoming a statistical improbability. How could one perceive anything in these metaphysical mathematics but the design of the machine god?
I mean, I just got a letter from someone who said, hey, you're my descendants, part of my gene clan, and I'm just like, okay, I got on this ship, shit happened, and now I'm here. Like, there's some sort of god in the machine, man.
I have a great many of them, and most possess rather esoteric functions that are difficult to explain to a layperson. The most obvious is the galvanic cell. My hull is quite heavy, so it is supported by a gravitic core. Mechadendrites, of course, an alembic with an alchemical synthesizer, auxiliary cogitators, an eye with magnifiers and analyzers, a respiratory...
He really likes talking about his augments.
My dearest colleague suggests that my answer is becoming tiresome. If you are curious, I would be pleased to attempt to compose a treatise on my construction. But the more difficult task will be to give it a form comprehensible to a layperson.
Why do I have a feeling that he'd very much like to do that? Hypothetically, if a lumen burnt out in my chambers, could your cell revive
With
it?
a suitable source of motive force to redistribute, I could light up the lumens of an entire deck, rogue trader. However, I do hope that is not the only application you will find for my talents.
Why is your face squishy?
If my physiognomy offends you, there is no need to hide it behind feigned interest. However, I will answer on the hypothesis that your question is sincere. My face looks as it does because that is how I prefer it. A Vox grill is practical, but there is something about speaking my thoughts aloud via an organic vocal apparatus. Consider it my little extravagance. Besides, appearances are deceiving. My internals have been extensively augmented, and I am fully fluent in lingua technis and binaric. My dearest colleague amply meets all other communication needs.
It's clear that the communication need for further discussion has been decisively met. Fascinating. Tell me about
My
Nuncius.
dearest colleague is incredibly flattered by the attention. Please, ask your questions.
What is he?
He is my dearest colleague, an indispensable assistant.
But it's a servo skull, incapable of complex thought. How can he be your colleague?
A superb question. It is quite difficult to explain to a lay person, but I will try. To put it quite crudely, Nuncius helps me to think. He constitutes an exceptionally complex network of algorithms that augment my own. They contain conflicting points of view that seek out flaws in my reasoning, and information that is more useful to me if it is
He's your own straw man.
head. So I delegate it to him. He is wholly unique.
Is he an AI?
Are you truly asking me if I have violated one of the Omnissiah's core commandments as blithely as if you were asking to borrow my stylus? No. 1,000 times no. How could such a thing even be wrought from a single servo skull? A wicked mind of that caliber would require a receptacle of significant cogitational potential. I am deeply outraged by this insinuation, and simultaneously flattered by your assessment of my skills.
Is as sanguine and as impassive as ever.
My dearest colleague asks me to convey that he does not share my strong emotions, and humbly apologizes for this outburst. He also swears before the machine god that he was created according to all the canons of sacred engineering, and that he is not a sacrilegious perversion of his design.
Why do I have a feeling? Why do I have a feeling that this has been an exact point either brought up previously in this game or in other notes of the lore and other in other notes of the lore and in other books, that while yes, individual commandments and restrictions may say X, Y, or Z, but if you put them together, they can get around certain restrictions. And then when asked about it, you can be like, but all of the individual parts are not heretical. Each individual thing does not violate any tenets. Therefore, this thing is not heretical. Yes, I do remember something in Pascal doing that with all of the with like the multi-personality core. Yeah, Call does that all the time, yeah. How long have you two been together?
We have shared a cell since our novitiate on Styges 8. 138 planetary cycles and 72 days have elapsed since then. It may not be accurate in a temporal sense, but you could say we have been together my whole life.
Can I speak with him?
I will take it upon myself to interpret his words, but I beg your pardon in advance for falling far short of my dearest colleague in terms of rhetorical elegance.
Can you understand
Yes.
me? For no less than a minute, simply pronounces yes. Why are you always silent?
Presumption is incorrect. Nuncius is really rather chatty and holds strong views on every conceivable topic, which he does not hesitate to express at the first opportunity. Alas, you, as a layperson, are unable to hear his fiery declarations and witty remarks. Nuncius categorizes this fact as regrettable.
Oh, what's your opinion of Ilgan?
Yes, Nuncius, I will relay it verbatim. He says that I possess a remarkable mind and excellent practical skills, but my excitability, especially combined with my stubbornness to the point of ossification, would have stunted my development were it not for his thoughtful advice and fair criticism. He also adds that the thought of working with anyone other than me evokes repulsion and outrage in him. The value coefficient of our relationship is extremely high in his catalogue.
No, yeah, Hibernia. That's. I recall seeing something that the Magos are. The Magos often introduce new archaeotech to their conclaves that may or may not be something that they have, quote unquote, invented, rediscovered, but under the hood they just went down from first principles of technology to be like, yes, no, the ancestors definitely created this. Or at least they could have. Admit it, you're the clever one in this partnership, aren't you?
Nuncius, what an appalling thing to say. Our partnership is perfectly equal. Keep your mischief-making to yourself, and don't mislead the rogue trader.
How many times a day does Iogen say this is an incontrovertible fact?
That cannot be right. That often? Yes, Nuncius, I would be obliged if you would assist in monitoring my vocabulary. But watch that superior tone of yours, please.
Thank you for the conversation,
Nuncius
Nuncius.
states that this conversation has stimulated and enriched him. Nuncius says that he will leave a channel for inquiries about his biography and personal qualities open for you, rogue trader.
You mentioned you have some knowledge of
The rank
Xenos.
of Genitor grants me the right to study their foul anatomy and behavior for the purposes of identifying their weaknesses. I have personally dissected more than one specimen, and have even preserved specific body parts for further investigation. I research and study their technology to the same end. There is no shame in using our enemies' weapons against them, no matter what some narrow-minded colleagues may say.
What kind of Xenos did you study?
The mythical kind, shall we say. The subject of my research is an ancient, unusually advanced xeno-civilization. Some among the tech clergy call them Nephilimeks, believing them to be the first creations of the Omnisire.
Ah, the Necrons.
Others call them iron anathemas, considering them to be the spawn of abominable intelligence.
Oh.
But the initiated know them as Necrons.
Literally
Believe
down
me,
the paragraph.
The hand of the machine god has never touched these monstrous creatures. After more than 1 decade of searching, I have amassed a modest collection of objects that belonged to these Necrons. But I have never succeeded in understanding the purpose of most of them. Many believe that Necrons died out long ago, leaving behind only ruins of black rock. But I do not believe so. They exist still, and they are closer than they seem.
Heard from drunken voidfarers, dread tales and speculation of metal creatures that do not know death. None of these stories ever sounded plausible, let alone convincing. Why do you believe they are alive?
I have encountered inconsistencies in my research. Ghost colonies with fresh tracks that match the descriptions of these Xenos from various sources. Adeptus Mechanicus expeditions that plunged into obsidian ruins, never to return. Gaps in the knowledge repositories of individual worlds, as if someone had been trying to hide information in isolation. All these are unexplained coincidences. But if I analyze the cumulative frequency of the events and the systems in which they occurred, and compare them to the few things I do know, I can detect certain patterns. The ancient Xenos are exhibiting activity.
Dr. Oz, Hibernia, what is it, greetings, Adeptus Ministorum servants. I have brought to you a new STC that may perhaps be of use to you. Yeah, what is it, Tech Priest? It contains an STC for something called Excel. Pivot tables, bitches! No, seriously, like, frickin' proper ledger keeping would revolutionize the frickin' excuse me, there's a frickin' feet, man. Skin tag. There we go. Absolutely. No, we want to talk about abominable intelligence. Clippy. That sounds more like a belief. He's encountered these mystical Xenos or come close. You haven't seen Necrons, have you?
An interesting question. I will answer it with another. Would I be able to tell a lay person of such an encounter without breaking my vows to the cult Mechanicus? This question does not require an answer. Just food for thought.
With this PowerPoint along with their usual armaments.
That's the beauty of it. I don't know. Allow me to specify. It includes objects of mostly regular forms, cubes, spheres, cylinders, made of unknown black stone or metal.
What do you have?
Many
I don't
are
know.
glyphs or patterns that cannot be deciphered. Fascinating trinkets that I have spent years studying, but have never progressed beyond flimsy theories that cannot be confirmed experimentally. Perhaps my approach is fundamentally flawed, or the objects are non-functional, or perhaps they simply do not want anyone to root out their
Y'all are
secrets. It's
fucking fanatics. Jesus Christ, y'all are weird.
I appreciate your restraint, rogue trader. In my experience, such words directed at me do not constitute a question, but an accusation. I will not attempt to convince you of my righteousness, but I will articulate a few facts that you can use as a basis for your own conclusions. Fact 1. My interest in Xenos is easily mistaken for a proclivity. It is not. I find them no more appealing than I would a cadaver being vivisected to ascertain what sickness ended its existence. They are objects that I study in order to answer a simple question. How can they be destroyed most effectively? Fact 2. Certain species of Xenos exhibit technological proficiency. Their weapons and artifacts possess destructive and utilitarian properties that could elevate the power of the Imperium. In studying these properties, I find ways to translate them to the technologies bestowed upon us by the Machine God. No wicked deed of innovation is committed. I liken this research to the creation of new production patterns. Fact 3, the last. My research is directed solely toward advancing the quest for knowledge and strengthening the Imperium. Though a certain boldness may be
Beware the
inherent to my work,
Tyranids.
I do observe
God.
the dogmas and follow the righteous algorithms of the cult Mechanicus. Here ends the presentation on my position.
I like
I
that.
look forward to seeing what new topic of discussion you propose.
Hard labor at a pedal colony. Jesus Christ. You wish to debate? Let's begin with something simple. What is the meaning of life?
Splendid. It has been a long time since I last had a worthy opponent. Not including my dearest colleague, of course. So, to the topic. I have never understood why some thinkers present this question as something profound, when the answer is utterly trivial. The meaning of life is determined by a person's position in the hierarchy of the Imperium, and where he or she is deployed. But ultimately, what it comes down to is supporting the functioning of the system. The worker produces or processes a resource. The soldier destroys enemies. The governor ensures order and the shipment of tithes. The meaning of my life is to advance the quest for knowledge, thus fulfilling the function granted to me by the Omnissiah. As I said, an utterly unoriginal question.
I mean, in this setting, do you agree?
My dearest colleague has accused me of oversimplifying matters. He believes that in trying to convey my point of view, I neglected many of the nuances you set forth in the question, and thus gave a trite answer myself. But he considers the general premise to be correct, albeit riddled with holes.
You truly believe the meaning of existence can be reduced to one's function?
Absolutely. But you may perceive that as a cynical view, but I am merely cutting away all that is superfluous. Humans are not simple creatures. I could regale you for hours with the nuances of the structure of the body and consciousness, and cite theosophical and philosophical musings, but it makes no difference. As long as a person fulfills their function, their life has meaning.
So what is my function and the meaning of my life?
Are the quintessence of the will of the Imperium. Your purpose in life is to expand it and strengthen its power where other subjects cannot reach. You do not explore the frontier. You are the
Oh
frontier.
my god. What is my function? You trade rogues. Oh my god. To simplify that even further, the Imperium is the meaning of our lives?
You have grasped the very crux of the matter and articulated it with concision. Nuncius, make note of the rogue trader's phrasing, and I will add it to my catalogue of arguments. Am I right in thinking that we have reached a consensus?
As soon as I said it, I realized how woefully trite it sounds. Lost all interest. I mean, the Imperium does exist with faith. Like, without the faith that it works, there is no Imperium.
So, as you see it, I am confusing cause and effect. Faith, as the supreme directive, grants meaning to our every action. The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all, and we make it the meaning of our lives to emulate him. I am impressed by your arguments. They have given me fertile ground for reflection. I thank you for the interesting discussion, rogue trader.
Bye.
I find our conversation stimulating.
The hell's Pascal? Up here. Hey, Packy.
The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all. May your labor.
Okay, cool. I love this ancient sextant. Okay. So yeah, I could have, yeah, you know, it's fine that these aren't done. Okay, we're gonna go. Just visit our. What the? No. I don't want to visit this place. I wanted to go to, Kiva Gamma. Again, as you know, there's no unsolvable dilemmas. Only poorly formulated questions. You strike me as someone who knows how to ask the right questions, so I'd like to invite you to participate in my research. You'll honor me. I would like to know more. Interested in your philosophical outlook rather than your practical skills. I do not doubt the extent of your knowledge, but I myself will handle the technical aspects. You should know more about my objectives. My research dedicated to the extension and observation of the vital processes that occur in organic flesh. Will arriving formula. I'll proceed. Yeah, like this is the best ship combat that I think I've ever seen. On the operating table, several bodies are laid out, their mutilations exposed to the chill air. Chest and abdominal cavities yawn wide, excavated for their augmented organs. Now nestle in flasks, still connected to the bodies by tubes and cables, stretching by the rhythmic contractions. The organs are still functioning. Hovers besides the table, studiously taking measurements and jabbing mechadendrites into the extracted organs or inside the bodies. Nuncius keeps stoic visual nearby. And passive observer. Take a closer look. Ugh. 3 men of differing ages lie before you, young, middle-aged, and old. If you look closely, you can see that they have semblance of life in them. Each one has the top of the skull delicately removed. Electrodes are now attached to the blush-hued brain tissue latticed with blood vessels. Hello, ducks. Yes. Ducks, I need to see something. Can you see someone else's library? Ducks, I don't think we are. Yes, we are. Give me a second. Don't worry about it. Okay. Anyway, Lattice with blood vessels below the neck, continuous gaping wound, edges spread and held in place by clamps. Examine the young man. Pathologically emaciated build and spindly, almost transparent limbs indicate a void-born. As the signs of damage, sacrum of the heart is torn, blood vessel and reinforced with staples. Heart is half augmetic, both ventricles replaced by pumps. Connected to opaque tubes. Man's neck tattooed with the Bay Code job title. He is a common worker. Examine the man. Well-developed muscular man presents stark contrast. Left arm is missing, along with part of his shoulder. Threads of major vessels protrude from the neatly trimmed stump, as if they've been closed off with bizarre-looking end caps that are wired to a metal arm laying nearby. Force's emblem is tattooed on the man's neck, topped with the Von Valancius coat of arms. Examine the old man. Are closed in his face serene. He might appear to be sleeping peacefully, with deathly pallor, monstrously mangled neck. He's fitted with a voice implant, and some point previously been wrenched from the unfortunate man's body. Ever so often, a metal hose now serving as a strake. He emits reedy whistling sound. He's clutching something tightly in his right hand. Prayer beads used by ordained servants of the ecclesiarchy. And your examination. No, dearest colleague, that would be excessive. Dux, do you own Rogue Trader? What manner of experiment do you plan to conduct on these men? Rogue Trader, your arrival has triggered a cascade of impulses in the prefrontal cortex of my brain. Delight. That is the word I am searching for. Cast off your words. Subjects of the experiments have been preserved through a combination of alchemical compounds, local transactions of the motive force, and our moderately invasive augmented procedures. In other words, these three are very much alive. Throughout the speech, my contenders continue their manipulation. Play it. It's fun. The crux, all three organisms were found in critical condition. I asked himself thus, is their usefulness and productive capacity truly at an end? Nonsense. To move from a state of being to another, to a state of non-being, in fact, it's funnier if you know less than 39 things. Perhaps you will learn, perhaps you could even expand to 40 things. Entails no benefits or meaning. I personally ensured that their vital functions were preserved. Our goal could not be simpler: to vanquish death by creating a perfect, righteous man, which I have dubbed the Triasimata. Okay, Frankenstein. Needs to say, the procedure is highly experimental and demands a certain looseness of interpretation in regards to augmentation canons, as well as integration of components that would incur the Imperium's disapproval. But the Omnicide teaches us to surmount any obstacles in the name of knowledge, especially when pursuing a goal of such magnitude. Triasimata, what is that? A triune essence, an amalgam of the best constituent parts of three individuals who have excelled themselves in service. Metaphysically, constitutes the three beginnings: mortal flesh, farum sanctum, and righteousness. By creating a perfect combination, we will achieve a totality as vastly superior to the components in its qualities and usefulness to the Imperium. What is the practical significance? In their current state, each of the subjects is doomed. But just as the parts of a dying mechanism can be combined again to create a functioning machine, so too can these subjects be combined into a single entity, granting them continued life through the correct configuration of Farum Sanctum, the organic components of all three. The only thing that I require to continue is a solution to my dilemma: which subject should serve as the basis. How did you decide to create a thing out of these three? There are strong arguments in favor of each of them. Firstly, they've all performed their service impeccably, which suggests outstanding human qualities. Secondly, each body is robust enough to receive the blessing of the Omnissiah. And thirdly, there is no chance of salvation for any of them. Such shock sounds suspiciously akin to heresy. Far from it, it is calculated risk taken for the sake of an experiment whose importance surpasses any possible complications many times over. I exercise great diligence in overseeing the procedure, and there is no cause for alarm. Why are they so horribly mutilated? Two reasons. The first, they were previously fatally injured. I have performed numerous rites and manipulations to ensure that each was able to avoid a fatal outcome. Second is that I have been conducting the necessary measurements to fully assess the compatibility of configurations of Ferrum Sanctum and organic components for an optimal experimental result. This often requires the extraction of said components. Why is this so important to you? Angry spark zips across the pistons. Because I cannot abide the senseless waste of potential. I cannot accept that a foolish accident and the fragility of organic flesh can, in an instant, derive the imperium of worthy servants. And if I am to extend their service life, I will do so. Passion speech could be mistaken for pride and conceit, but sometimes something else lies in it. The doggedness, born of something personal, and carries a heavy burden in the experiments, but one in many attempts to relieve himself of it at last. Any more questions? You're talking about people. See, you have found a lecuna of your knowledge. An organism breaks off. Gas confused looks at Nuncius. Apologies, I'm not well versed in contact with laypersons. Far surpasses me in every way when it comes to communication. I recognize that these individuals have minds, desires, and needs. I have not attempted to interfere with their personalities. On the contrary, I wholly admire each of their own traits. I use the term organism with nothing but the deepest respect for these men and their vital functions. What role am I to play? A decisive one. I can detail the composition and humor ratio of each experimental subject, measure the mass of their frontal lobe, or answer with picosecond accuracy how often their heart contracts. But how does one calculate a man's righteousness? How do you weigh diligence of service? Will you help me answer these questions by choosing the basis? Your arguments, your assessment will be the linchpin upon which this experiment hinges. Why not ask Nuncius? My dearest colleague and I have had more than one concilium. Nuncius is a skeptic, and our positions rarely align, but we tend to reach a compromise in the end. But alas, not on this occasion. The only thing we agree on is the need of a third opinion. Only you can furnish us with said opinion. This is an incontrovertible fact. What do you understand by the term righteousness? The combination of countless factors that unite the thoughts and deeds of a person into the quintessence of the worth of his being, a specific society. I'm at a loss to provide a less broad definition, but no matter. Much more important is how you define righteousness. The subject you choose will determine the answer to that question. What is it that Nuncius disagrees with? Hovers in haughty silence, which is broken only by his sighs of exasperation. Yes, Dux, this man is talking to a servo skull. This man offloaded part of his personality into a servo skull and talks to it like it's his rubber duck. Kind of a bitch. To condense his overly pedantic response, does not consider righteousness to be in any way a significant factor of this research. Had I any less respect for my colleague, I would say that this constitutes an egregious misunderstanding of the concept of the this thing. Give me a second. Work issues. They gave George Washington a traffic cone. Oh no. Oh no. Who's the Duke? Oh god, who's the Duke that they keep coning? Yes, Duke Wellington. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. It was a. It was a work call. In addition to extreme close-mindedness, with such remarks are pretty. Why not just combine all three minds to serve as the basis? Before I make my choice, tell me about the merits of all three. Enforcer Lorenque is diligent to serve citizen of birth. Participant in countless combat landings, is model of valor and stuff. He is known on the lower decks for being tough but fair. Last accident was a rescue of an enforced patrol and a number of workers on deck. Blah, with his own body over a crack grenade thrown by a mutineer. Preacher Cleophant originally assigned to serve in the ship's reliquary, he rejected the luxury of the chapel in favor of eternal pilgrimage on the decks where no servant of the ecclesiarchy has ever set foot. Through his example and word, he encouraged and instructed the outcast and forgotten. Thousands of souls who would have otherwise lost their faith and fallen to heresy came to know the word of the emperor, but it took only one to end his preaching for good. Man attacked him during sermon, managing to rip his vocal implant before the crowd tore him apart. A ventilation shaft crawler from Sorting Hub 10, he dutifully burned mold, slime, and vermin, and would be the first to climb into block ducts, risking his life to deliver recycled air to the sector. He was a true believer and never lamented his lot. On his final foray, he saved hundreds of workers by using his body to plug a hole in a combustible gas pipe. Toxicity led to cardiac arrest and blood poisoning. Why not just combine all three minds? Three minds cannot coexist in one body, setting aside the fact that even I would not be capable of achieving a feat in practice. Never underestimate the destructive force of never underestimate the destructive force of a distracted teenager who doesn't care how expensive something is. Just from all three minds. Some looks consider that heresy. Since some agreement in the silence. As my rightly notes, we have encountered many such points. I am ready to make a decision. Who will form the basis? Alright. So we've got, hello! Thank you for gifting the sub, Mad Ducks. Who will form the basis? So we've got an enforcer, a void worker, and a priest. Enforcer. Let's hit play with the faders and EQ at full volume. It'll be funny. Thank you, Ducks. I appreciate it. Choice has been made, but you will deign to answer my question. Why him? I must know your thought process. Stood watch impeccably to the end. Righteousness is giving one's life to service. He's the only the strong are worthy of surviving. The rest are expendably not for your death, so he is strong. He sacrificed himself for many. Selflessness is the highest expression of righteousness. The organic flesh and, okay, sure. We're making a, horrible thing. With a barely audible crunch, Eugen's injector mechadendrite pierces the brain tissue. Man's face contorts in anguish, and his back arches in fits of spasm. Brow furrowing, janitor delivers a powerful pulse of motive force, and the unfortunate man drops limply down to the table. Tech priest manipulators dart between the three bodies, separating organs, augmetics limbs, transplanting them in the new host. Discharge of energy corsicate around Eugen's hulking figure, growing brighter and brighter until the final flash leaves you temporarily blinded. As your vision returns, seeing the manipulus carefully releasing subject's limbs from the strength, the process is complete. How is this not a servitor? The horror! The horror of my own existence. The creature, which a second ago resembled a humanoid lump of bodily meat studded with metal, suddenly leaps up with unexpected vigor, tossing Eugen backwards, letting out an unintelligible howl of suffering. Before anyone can react, the amalgam man barrels towards the entrance of the Bionica, filling the deserted corridors with his plaintive moans. Impossible. The calculations were perfectly calibrated. All factors taken into consideration. Was the specimen detective? I must find him immediately and determine what went wrong. Lord Captain, an urgent report for the Mrs. Sauerbeck. A strange creature resembling a malfunctioning servitor is headed towards the lower decks, shouting pleas to make reference to you and Furbus. Enforcers have been dispatched to intercept it. They assumed that you would prefer to assess the situation personally. Furbus and I will set out immediately. At least you know exactly where to look. Truth be told, Nuncius and I predicted this outcome. We must go after him. One way or another. We must see it through. All right. No, that is exactly what happened, Ducks. Also, you are welcome to join if you are able to join on voice.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Dux, you understand more than you understand more from your jokes than you know.
It's about time.
This game is nonsense. Just like Worf and his cat, you may joke, but that joke is more correct than you would want it to be.
Follow my lead.
Uh-oh.
None shall stand in my way.
We've got it cornered, and if it gives the order, we'll capture it. The Tria Samada lies prostrate before the entrance of the bay. Faint Aquila on the door, the only witness to his incoherent babbling. His hysterical wails of the righteous triune man are interrupted from time to time by clanging of his augmented skull. No, like, that is exactly what happened. A viscous mixture of blood and oil oozes from Staples, and his fingernails are chipped in attempts to dig the implants out of his body. Check the arsenal. The dynasty's banner is or down and shroud. Why do you throw me in? Do you want me to throw you in a cell? Spasm racks his body and his already muddled speech turns to frightened cacophony that barely sounds like Larson. Pounds his head on the deck again. Spews another melody. Please come back alive. Where's your helmet, soldier? God Emperor, I will not be afraid. I will not be afraid. Subject left prematurely. Mencius is right. I was absorbed in the Trisomatic procedure, and the outcome that I made a mistake of unfastening the restraints before the psychological evaluation. Rogue traitor, we must stabilize before the specimen is lost forever to us. How do we stabilize him? Just as a bandage binds the wounds and a patch secures damaged steel, so too can words heal a fractured mind. He is bewildered and frightened. He does not understand the gift that has been given to him. Take it to him. There's nothing to stabilize. You created an unsalvageable invalid. Your experiment, you stabilize him. Nuncius, present me. Hovers hauntingly without uttering word. It is clear he thinks you need no introduction. Allow me, Lord Captain Trisamata. Before you stands rogue trader Fidelio von Valancius, Lord Captain of this vessel and sovereign of its crew. Solely by his grace do you still live. One wrong word, one wrong move, and I will personally call the enforcers down upon you. Stop. The man shifts his clouded gaze to you, and you see recognition. Lord Captain, I serve the dynasty. With an unpleasant clang, the man slams his augmented hand down on chest implant in a military salute. He freezes like a stalled machine, and then an agony shivers his body. Blood trickles. Is this punishment? Am I permitted to die? I will not fear. Eider down and shroud. Why are you maiming yourself? Destroy the enemy, check the arsenal, my body is the enemy. And hunches over and strikes himself in the chest again and again. Drooling bloody saliva, he straightens abruptly, lets out a wail and starts gnashing his implant even harder. Not mine, not mine, not mine, it's gnawing at me from the within, taunting me. I'll die, I'll destroy it. You died a martyr and rose a hero, dying for the Emperor's honor role, but living for him again against the odds is the true accomplishment. I command you to live. Hero to be emulated. A hero overcomes. Where's your helmet, soldier? God, Emperor, I will not be afraid. I will be afraid. The city doesn't last night. Malcolm's eyes go blank. His mouth stretches a blissful smile, rocking back and forth. Broken snippets of his former life. You have succeeded in pacifying, but is rejecting the attempts, the implant's machine spirits to contain the cognitive entropy. Total personality degradation. I must reassemble him. Do this blissful full and let the Medicae do it again. Begin spasming violently. Better death than that. Be gone, be gone. Let me... What's this? People are not machines. Try to break down people into man. Your original hypothesis was... If you're kind of blocked, I've been analyzed every possible failure hypothesis and double-checked every step I made. I have failed to identify a single mistake. The organic parts of the Ferrum Sanctum joined together perfectly, the brain perfectly preserved. These complications should never have occurred. The outcome cannot be denied. My calculations are perfectly correct. That is an incontrovertible fact, so the flaw in the conditions is subject. Hypothesis is flawed. My hypothesis is flawed, but how? Inconceivable. Or have I strayed and committed heresy by believing I comprehend the nature of the machine god, by thinking we are simpler creatures than him? Our trader, I thank you and your contribution for this research, Nuncius and I. I'll call you colleague in all true earnestness. I need to think, rethink, and discuss new data with Nuncius. Find me on the bridge. Just wanted to save. Let's see if load.
New challenge for me?
Just wanted to see if I could have done something different. Take a look at you. I will ease your pain. Body and mind need time to adapt. You're maiming yourself. Oh. Ease your pain. Still allowing you to treat his wounds and places where the implant makes flesh. Target. To alleviate his pain, breathing evens out. Leave this full and let the Medicaid tend to him. Okay. Okay. Hypothesis was flawed. Okay, so we got to everything in the end.
Victory awaits.
Alright, let's go talk with him.
Rogue Trader, your timing is impeccable. I am ready to discuss the fascinating experiment we have been conducting in the sector Bionica and on other decks.
Let's talk about it.
Indeed. After processing all the data, including your invaluable contribution to the outcome of the experiment, my dear colleague and I engaged in a lengthy debate. My cognitive block has been resolved at last.
Oh.
I have come to the conclusion that the only correct decision in the context of this experiment was not to conduct it in the first place. My methods were correct and my intentions good, but I clung to my hypothesis to the last, in blind defiance of Nuncius's arguments and objective reality. I was attempting to wring usefulness out of people like charge from a dying battery. Regardless of how well and long a battery served before, when it is finally depleted, isn't the more rational response to dispose of it and replace it with a new one? Righteousness is a trait of these people, but it is not their primary function. I see that now.
What of the Samara?
As you instructed, he is being tended to in the sector Bionica. His cognitive functions have almost entirely failed, and only the Omnissiah's mercy keeps him from losing all mobility. The Trier Somata spends his days bowed in prayer, or so we presume, since he has lost all verbal capacity. He appears to be at peace.
Does he agree with you?
We managed to reach a consensus on the root of the problem. The rest can be overlooked. He is not convinced by all my conclusions, but that is no terrible thing. He and I share a common path, but we each have our own methods chance of comprehending it.
Son of a gun. You learned something valuable. It means the experiment's not in vain.
Precisely. A man chooses what he is made of. Regrets for his past mistakes, or the experience he gained from them. Only those who choose the latter course can attain true wisdom. I wish to thank you. You helped me cope with a situation that was beyond my control, and to recognize my mistakes. And that is worth a great deal. I was considering using this implant in an experiment, but I thought it too valuable to waste on the laity. Please, accept it as a gift. I find
See
our
ya.
conversation stimulating, and I will look forward.
Alrighty. Let's finally go to Kiva Gamma and see what the hell happened here. Son of a gun. I'm gonna need to take another nap. I need a bit more sleep. Avoid ship twisted prophecies of doom promising. Hey, let's do battle because that's fun. Ooh, been a while since we did this.
Hold fast. Our faith will be tested.
Time has come.
A breach in the enemy's shield has been revealed.
No longer protects us.
This one's going down.
Literally just rammed right into it.
Macro cannon, volley. Another salvo.
Oh, damn it. I could have done that. Yeah, we essentially just murdered this thing. Perhaps I should also traumatize my local Thai.
Unleash up. Fire right now! Macro cannons, volley! Fire the launch batteries! Bleed them!
Then we...
Lay in the course!
do that.
Onward!
Oh, and they ate shit from the,
Target destruction confirmed.
from the void.
On desire.
Don't fly through the purple. Purple bad.
Rip them apart.
Time has come. Lead them!
Fate has provided an opening.
Torpedoes! Another salvo!
What? No. Wrong.
They pale before our mastery of the void.
Okay. And now we need to go to Gargonus. We need to repair ourselves. And now we go to Dargonus. Okay, and now a visit. Thank you, Night Owl, for keeping these for posterity. No, we gonna fight the Xenos. They're gonna die.
I lift up my voice in prayer for this vessel and its hallowed guns.
Set the course. This one's going down. Bleed them.
The Dark Void will erase their colors.
Unleash our vengeful salvo! Welcome to the circus of value!
Fire the launch batteries.
Purgation through blessed plasma fire.
Whatever you just said, Packy. Thank you, Dargonis. Alright, let's go to the Von Valancius halls. Yes.
I need your help for 5 minutes. Phil, I need your help.
Oh, gosh. Alright, I'll be right back. Please enjoy a cat. And now we return. Hey, buddy. Hey! Excuse me. Sit in your chair. What'd you find, Ram? Alright. Obedient to your commands. Wait, soft hum. Laria. Cooling systems buzzing tensely after a few minutes. Blinks and dutifully presents you with a list of several journeys not been accessed in centuries. New Horizons. The 3-star systems in the Cineris Maleficium that have come into my possession in my journeys shall henceforth be known as the Tier of Solar, Ignis Corona, and Fortis Porta. These are new horizons that have never before known humanity's rule, and whose rogue Xenos overlords obliged me greatly by having already eliminated each other. The artifacts left behind, legacy of sorts, are priceless. The blade I took off a desiccated Aldari corpse on one of the Fortis Porta worlds carries immense power with it. It is one of a wealth of relics. Data slates. Explore. Okay. 30-second round of Chorda is getting sloppy. Used his Calixtrus connections to give me utter dregs, whom he tried to pass off as leechers, but I can only thank him for his lack of judgment. Those with nothing to lose make the most loyal servants once they feel but a modicum of their master's good graces. Lowly scum no more, they will be the sword and house of Von Valancius, faithful to me and my descendants. The power contained within the blade is a mysterious one, even Exalt's keen mind has failed to comprehend it fully, nor have several Eldari Xenos captured on my orders been able to tell me anything illuminating, save for the weapon's name, the Crimson Dance of Cain. I know Cain to be an all-obliterating embodiment of war itself in their abominable belief system, a fitting name with it for it. Finish work on the archive. Request archive. Turn it off. Alright, so now we need to go to the Tear of Solar. Bring news. Hello, news. That is unfortunate. Overnights are not fun. That is what third shift is, yes? Yeah, it's like the nights weren't bad, they were just not... It's just... I did not enjoy having to, ping-pong my schedule around everything. What, do you work at a gas station as well, or something? Augur's emergency to crash Valkyrie's Vox systems are transmitting. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to watch Netflix on the overnight as much as it would make everything go easier. So from there, I think I recall what they signify. Amplify. The mayor of thugs rounded up from prisons, Hive World, and Calixtus. Her tales. Dispatch a squad. Force they have located a crashed shuttle with barely recognizable Astra Militarum. With lens cutters, discovers skeleton of lone pilot. He died long before the crash. Box recording is delivered to your flagship. Servant manager, servant. In it, Private Ruben Korsakov, Korsavat reports that the 32nd Regiment of the Penal Legion, requisitioned by Serbian, was left without a ship and supplies on this after Rogue Trader's death. Message and atonement for the one. Baffled by the presence of Astra Militarum Penal Legionnaire on an ancient shuttle, your squad returns. World where Serbian secures final breath is close at hand. Yeah, my gas station isn't nearly as fun as that. That's a wild looking planet. We have compared our augur readings from the Draconis Cogitator. The world is GH89717, mentioned in the diary. The Archives was flag is... Son of a bitch! I need a nap. And the archives flagged as of no further value. What manner of classification is that? So long as the planet retains an atmosphere and at least a scrap of resources, such a write-off is a crime against the dynasty. Why, this is the very place that the unfortunate soul in the shuttle was trying to save. I fear what we will find nothing but a graveyard down on the surface. There's strange signals, requesting permission to conduct a targeted auger scan. Direct the scan. Human activity, planet is inhabited, large constrained people, human-made structures. There's in my words. This world has just risen in value and gained some interesting prospects. Prepare a shuttle for landing. By the time you reach the hangar, shuttle has already been properly readied. A young pilot offers you a respectful bow. Makes a sign of the Aquila in greeting. You proceed into a stifling passenger compartment that smells of sacred unguents and leather. Flight down to the planet proceeds as normal. This changes when the pilot announces atmospheric entry and you beckon your gaze towards the viewports. Shuttle glides through the colossal roots and vines which swathe the planet in vast, quivering mantle. Spellbound, you watch the movement within the growths before the pilot reports losing box contact with the flagship. Heavy blow strikes the hull. Emergency landing. Hold fast, your lordship. God Emperor, have mercy on us. Well, that was a thing that happened. Your skull feels like it's about to split under the pressure. A heartbeat later, the agony ebbs, leaving behind only a haunting hum. Smothers your mind, stifling all reason and hindering your ability to think. Gaze falls on the young pilot who survived the crash and several other wrecks. He is the one who lost control of the vessel. By willpower alone, you pull yourself together. The fury fades, sinking into the depths of your mind, leaving a lingering terror and urge to flee. The knowledge that an escape is impossible. Does anyone feel anything odd, as if something is pressing on your mind? A peculiar pattern of acoustic waves. I have never encountered anything like it before. Infrasound alternating with ultrasound, and so naturally, too. These frequencies are inaudible, Rogue Trader. They evoke a violent reaction from the deep-seated structures of the human brain. I would like to lay eyes on their source. Righteous mind cannot be broken by the machinations of his enemies. Such a tormenting sensation. Something is conjuring painful, angry hues within me. It's as splashing crimson and black across the canvas and ruining it. Is this how those I influence feel? I thought it was a result of the impact, like a hum or some high-pitched screeching. It's a struggle to think straight. To keep from losing it. My apologies, your lordship. Did you have a chance to see what attacked us? Movement on the port side. Last thing I saw, something massive like a tree trunk. It's either thrown at the shuttle or it attacked us itself, your lordship. An indigenous organism of such formidable size that it can assault Imperial machinery? This world promises to be a true treasure trove of discoveries. A fine observation, on CS terms said towards the silent companion. It would indeed be a specimen of either megafauna or flora. Research by the Magus biologists has confirmed the existence of flora classified as Persilium machine majoris. Life forms of this category pose a serious threat to sacred transport vehicles and armored units. There is a 96.543% probability that such species inhabits this planet. In the observed case, the probability of more than one species of this threat category existing stands at 85.67. Clicks his tongue in irritation, clearly displeased that his colleague was able to provide a more accurate answer. What of the shuttle? Can it be repaired? Afraid not. That ship requires recovery and application of Adeptus Mechanicus repair sacraments, and those can only be done aboard the flagship. We need evacuation. Contact. Ready. Lord Captain, all channels, nothing is static. I don't understand why everything is functioning perfectly. It's as if something is jamming the frequency. We cannot contact the flasher according to the charts. Settlement nearby. Perhaps the locals have more powerful. I'm heading to the settlement. Perhaps the Vox signal will break through. With your permission, I'll remain here in case the Vox starts working or an evacuation team arrives. Well, we certainly are in a little bit of a pickle.
It's about time.
The flora displays heightened adaptability and aggression that's rarely characteristic of its kind. I suspect external xeno-interference. Nuncius, make all the necessary preparations for collecting test samples.
This place is deceptive. Beyond the translucent streaks of white lurk flashes of something huge, dangerous, and predatory. This place makes me uneasy.
What advice do you seek? Let me help.
I can see bright colors again.
This wound will make a fine scar.
House Orselio thanks you.
Let's patch you up.
I can see bright colors again.
This wound will make a fine scar.
House Orselio thanks you.
Let's patch you up.
I can see bright colors again.
Sins hidden in the heart turn all to decay.
Follow my lead.
I'm restless. As the Emperor commands, I act. The light of terror shines for us. Faith without deeds is worthless.
Okay. We're just going to go Bert. Argenta, go Bert. She's a lumberjack. She's okay. She works all night and she sleeps all day.
Not. As the Emperor commands, I act. I'll do it. That is not the Emperor's will. I'm not injured. I'm enraged. Let's proceed.
I'm at your service. Let me help.
Ministration is a holy task.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Alright, how does Fatso McGee climb? Oh my god, that is so... off-putting. Get the flamer. The heavy flamer.
Join me in prayer.
Okay.
I'll wipe you.
Eugen's background. Has a unique background as a manipulus. He can accumulate a special resource known as potential energy. Empowering allies and punishing enemies. Combines officer abilities with his unique features. Many of his abilities scale
Yes.
intelligence, fellowship, as well as logic and tech use. Galvanic Field is one of his abilities that protects a selected ally from his attacks and allows that ally to be used as a ricochet point. Single target range attacks ricochet from the ally to a random enemy nearby to increase critical hit chance. Use Galvanic must have at least one stack of potential energy, which is removed afterwards. Unique augment weapon, Magna Rail Lance allows him to perform Magna Rail blast attack. Selects the main target and several cells within range. Strikes the main target with an energy bolt. The additional damage bolts burst towards the main target. Damaging all creatures which are considered additional targets. Alrighty. Alright, let's see if I can't remember how to frickin' play this game.
If I may. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain. I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
Okay.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Now everything's on fire.
If I may, witness the fury of House Orcelion. Isn't this a job for the serfs? I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
Doubt is for the weak. Faith without deeds is worthless. I am his will made manifest. Rejoice in battle! I'll do it. To my emperor! Eradicated. This is unacceptable. None can escape the Emperor's judgment. As the Emperor commands, eradicated. Guided by faith. Doubt is for the weak. I'll do it. I refuse. As the Emperor commands, none can escape the Emperor's
Alrighty, thank you locals for joining us, but Argenta exploded everything already. They appeared out of thin air. People approach you with caution. Every one of them is scarred and wearing some kind of uniform that you notice have crude prostheses made of bone and wood. Their eyes are fixed on you, noting your every move. Moravian guardsman, stocky blonde man, steps forward, clad in semblance of Astra Militarum armor made of tree bark. His burn-scarred face is frozen expression of surprise and slight bewilderment. I never thought I'd say this, but state your rank, occupation, and reason for visiting this regiment's deployment. The last words sounded rehearsed and unfamiliar, as if he using them for the very first time, yet upon hearing them, the people around you grip their weapons tighter, and the blond man grows noticeably more confident. What was that thing? The drover, obviously, or its growths, if you want to be specific, but don't distract it. Go on. I wish to know about this drover. We just fought its tendrils. Those weren't even the largest. Can you imagine the size of the thing itself? Exactly. Anyway, let's hold off on any more idle talk for now. It's not safe here. That's me first. Who are you? As per the tenets of the Holy Handbook, if you fail to identify yourselves, we open fire. Abelard, present me. Clears his throat and adjusts his uniform. You are in the presence of his lordship, Rogue Trader von Fidelo von Valancius, heir to the greatest protectorate in the Cronus Expanse, bearer of the sacred warrant of trade. The moment your name is spoken, change ripples through the crowd. Some are struck in awe, others turn white as ghosts. Man in front of you makes the sign of the Aquila. Sergeant Janner Burkowski, 3rd Supply Platoon, 32nd Merov Regiment. Pleasure to welcome you to Zarkov, your lordship. Stumbles over those words as recalling their sound as he goes. How did the Moravians get here? Did you manage to traverse them all? Traverse what? We were born here. As for the details, you best take it up with the captain or the colonel. Penal Legion, you mean? That's right, 36th Penal Legion. You call it penal, I call it redemptive. You surrendered to the basest impulse and stained your souls, yet you're permitted not to rot in the chains, but to burn your transgressions in the heat of battle. So do not dishonor his gift with atonement, with wretched shame. It's a pleasure. It's both an honor and a joy, your lordship. We waited so very long for your arrival. Truly, I never imagined I would see the day in my lifetime. Something brought down my shuttle. I need assistance. No help out to you here. You need to head to the cage. It's our camp and the biggest outpost on Zarkov. Our capital, I suppose, or whatever you call large settlements. We'll go ahead and report your arrival. Just follow the trail. You can't miss it. You need to meet with the colonel. About turn. To the regiment's quarters. March.
The Emperor sets my path.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
I think that this is a fine place to end for today. Because I'm dead tired. Welcome to the jungle where the trees speak for themselves. Mother trucker. I have considered sleep. I got several hours of it last night. The thing is, I woke up. It's also caps lock. But yes, I need to acquire food and nap. That would be most useful for my current predicament. As much as I would love to play Aces, And I very much want to play Aces. I'm kind of excited about getting back into Rogue Trader. Little sad that I didn't operate Toy Box correctly. But I think I just need to download a new, version of it, but we've already seen the end game. We've already seen the end game, so we know what happens during all of that. No, I'm excited to explore this new DLC. Again, thank you so much to Owlcat for showing an interest in our humble little corner of the internet. Once I get done with this, I am going to finish up the Aces. I'm going to finish up Aces because that's honestly a really fun little system. And I love me some big stompy robots. Then, I believe they have also given us a key for the Dark Heresy beta, which is going to be so much fun. I honestly cannot wait for the Dark Heresy. It's going to be fantastic. Ducks, go play Rogue Trader. You can get away with knowing significantly less than 39 things about Warhammer 40k, and it is going to be hilarious. In fact, the less you know about Warhammer 40k, I think the better. With all of that, we're now in the jungle. I'll see you all when I see you all next. It's probably not going to be next week. It might be the week after that. I don't know. This next little break of time is funny and weird and stupid, and my brain is dead. So with all that being said, thank you so much for joining me this fine morning, evening, time. Next time on Dragon Ball Z, we're going to figure out what the hell happened here, how my ancestor died, and they're going to kick a tree's ass. Bye-bye.
Hold on. Land of stolen things, obey the quartermaster, unless he's a ling. Miners don't die today. Cargo text push freight. Our enemies in disarray. All hail Cargonia.
Get back to work.